app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Hello and good evening. Thank you for joining us on the UBC TV News tonight. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and let's take a look at the headlines before we start with the bulletin. In our headlines tonight, General Kaihura visits Chisoro after 4 years. Furthermore, government communicators trained passed out. UPDF and Uganda police seize over 20,000 stolen livestock. And still to come, Bunyanguru Edge Kings of Kings qualifies for semi-finals. Thank you for joining us once again. We're streaming live on YouTube under the name tag UBC Television Uganda. Now, to start off our bulletin tonight, public relation officers belonging to government agencies have completed a 2-week training at the National Leadership Institute, Chankwanzi. Now, the Commander, Operation Wealth Creation, General Salim Saleh, presiding over the occasion, held this at Gulu University. 80 communicators from government departments and agencies have completed a 2-week training at the National Leadership Institute, Chankwanzi. The Commander of Operation Wealth Creation, General Salim Saleh, officiated the ceremony held at Gulu University, Gulu City.
Work, because really where we have worked, the journey we have worked in the last 25 years as UPDF is commendable. Although now we are stuck at a certain stage, on how to deal with us, there was there. Because for us we were working, but now our time has come, so we can't work anymore. And you, the young tax with 2 masters, and then I don't know what, I think you guys, you are staying in this position for too long. Go away. Now we are trying to look for a way of going away, but it needs to be orderly.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of ICT, Bajire Vincent, says the refresher training was meant to sharpen their communication skills.
The government communication officers for a refresher course, specifically in Chankwanzi, to achieve a number of objectives, but primarily to give them knowledge of our country, Uganda, sharpen their ideological thoughtfulness, but also to bring them together to create cohesion in the communication function of government, so that we all communicate collectively rather than communicating in silos. What has been happening is that a communication officer travels to Gulu to visit. He has had the activity about Naro in Gulu University without necessarily communicating the tremendous infrastructure that is at Gulu University. So for that matter, we brought them together, sharpen their skills, and also to ensure that going forward we communicate in a coherent but also in a collaborative framework where indeed we participate in communicating everything government, but not just the agency that we belong to.
While the director of the National Leadership Institute, Major General David Kasura Chomukama, revealed that the communication officers have been equipped to speak in unison. He also thinks proper communication will play a big role in achieving the 2040 vision.
You know, when you communicate, you don't just communicate things which you want the people to hear, but you communicate people which they expect. You communicate, you help them to articulate their expectation. Thinking is that these people have known what is in the 2040 vision. They have known what is required to be done for us to transform our country, and they are going to help us.
Among the prominent government communications officers who have successfully completed the 2 weeks refresher at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi are the former journalist Sheila Nduhuchire of the Medical Drugs Authority, Aisha Alibai, Frank Baine of Prisons, and Simunyu Jacob of Internal Affairs. The Operation Wealth Creation spokesperson called this a milestone in achieving the values of Pan-Africanism.
It's all about love for our country, it's all about Pan-Africanism, it's all about putting the people first, and all about understanding the terrain of our country.
President Yoweri government, when relaxing the COVID-19 restrictions last year, in a televised national address, President Yoweri Museveni said that the general laxity on observing the SOPs could risk the country into a dangerous situation that might be difficult to manage. He said that today alone, 690 cases of COVID-19 have been recorded in Uganda, with Kampala and Wakiso districts being the high-risk areas. He advised Ugandans in the countryside not to travel to these districts unless they had critical matters to attend to. President Museveni revealed that the National COVID-19 Task Force will convene on Wednesday this week to assess the COVID-19 situation in Uganda and come up with new guidelines. He also cautioned police officers that are making a fortune out of the anti-COVID-19 operations to stop forthwith or else will be arrested. Let's hear what he had to say.
When we had controlled the epidemic, we announced deliberately calculated measures of relaxation. But people, bananta bourgeois, the ones who are not advisable, took over now. So we said, abatamivu, the drunkards, the ones who like drinking. For the drunkards, we said no. Because the drunkards, how can you say, observe this, observe that? That's a contradiction in terms. So, Ababo, Pabesonyua, we forgot about the drunkards. We said, please, mutuvire, twagala kwetasa. We want to survive. But we had opened for others, like I think some of the hotels for eating. They could sit as long as they sit properly, distancing. For the churches, please, you can pray, but pray when you are few in number. God is in all places. There is no way it is said that God is in a building. Then when you are traveling, you travel few in a vehicle which is supposed to carry 20, it carries a smaller number. Then the schools, we only opened for the completers, the ones who were finishing the transitional classes. And the calculation was that because they are few, they can sit in a scattered way, in a big school which is supposed to be for 1,000, they are now only 200. We thought they could sit in a safe way. Then don't congregate in towns. But people now forgot completely. Put on masks because these people are found and they have their masks on. I have my mask here. So therefore, Ugandans who are in the villages, don't come if you are not doing serious work, if you are not trading. Don't come to Kampala. Don't come to Wakiso. Stay in your villages. Because your villages are safe, it is Kampala and Wakiso that are full of corona, because people don't listen. You can see there, all that blue is safe, no corona. Even the yellow, few numbers. The purple there, that's your Kampala, your Wakiso. This is where there is abundant corona, because nantaburirwa yasabana na wabumba. I came today to sound a warning to the whole country that we are entering a very dangerous phase. After our meeting on Wednesday, we are going to give a detailed guidelines, and which will have to be enforced. Of course, I'm also told that these policemen are corrupt, that when we say enforce guidelines, they also misuse them. But that's curable. We are going to arrest them. I will put my agents in the population, and those who are corrupt, we shall get them and really treat them severely. But more importantly, I appeal to the population, without waiting for these guidelines to be repeated again, because you already know them. Putting on the mask, social distancing. If you don't have to go to travel, don't travel, just stay in your homes. Sanitize your hands. Don't touch your mouth, don't touch your eyes, don't touch your nose with unclean hands. These are the measures that helped us to overcome this problem. Toward the end of next week, I will make another broadcast and give a detailed way forward.
Yes, definitely not a position most of us wanted to hear. But yes, that is true. The situation is not getting any better as per now. We have, actually today alone, we had 690 cases of COVID-19 registered, something that is actually showing that we are moving faster in the second wave than it was in the first wave. If you have a look at your screens right now, coronavirus cases stand at 45,231, and then we're also registering 364 deaths. We have 42,199 recovered patients, and then the total of vaccinated people stand at about 541,569. And then when you look at the samples tested, we have 1,095,468. And all this is coming from the Ministry of Health. Ladies and gentlemen, today alone, 690 cases is quite a big number. That means we are doing something wrong. We are not following the standard operating procedures. So please take heed of these standard operating procedures. And also the police, please do not take this as an advantage to make money from people, because lives are at risk. Ugandan lives are at risk. In other news, residents of Buyanja East and West in Kibaale district have recommended government for the infrastructural development, mainly roads and electricity extension, among other developments. Now, this was at an event where Emily Kugonza and Matia Kasaija were being congratulated by their electorate over their recent swearing in.
Kibaale district is comprised of Buyanja West and Buyanja East that are represented by Matia Kasaija and Dr. Emily Kugonza respectively. The area's population is mainly engaged in agricultural cultivation, livestock keeping and trading assorted goods, but mainly agricultural products. The recent construction of schools, Tamaka roads, twister extension has added value to the area's development. And for this, residents are appreciative of governmental support.
We want our Kibaale to shine in each and everything. We have some city schools which are being constructed in Kibaale. We have Nyamarwa City School. The construction is going on. We still have a problem in our parents. They don't know the value of education.
Nikabana nsingato, ebahereze emirimu, nikabana bafune ekyokwetandikiraho.
Tucharankinga nk'ikintu amezi ejengudu bichatu nabo bichatu no butare bwe turahirima tukumusubira mu ngera kutukorera ibyo bintu.
This was at an event where Emily Kugonza and Kasaija were being congratulated by their electorate over the recent swearing in. Matia Kasaija appealed to communities to embrace hard work in order to generate income for better livelihoods. He emphasized that this 5-year term is for ensuring better livelihoods for all. Emily Kugonza appreciated the residents' support for electing him their member of parliament.
Mwanzo mlindo kwa maganiza okusima abatenzi bakaruhu na abasibensi abekiweka kino ekabuyanja yatuka musana mwebale obusagiki mwebale engonzi mwebale esardhanyu kandi nkwenda kubasaba leka tulibatire tutungo kutukaikaire. Since
the locals depend on agriculture, Emily says he wants to improve modern farming.
The focus is going to be on improving household incomes. We are going to mobilize the communities and these essential farmers. So over 90% of my voters of the population in Buyanja East are essential farmers. We are going to look at particular enterprises that will be able to get majority of the people out of poverty. There has been work going on through different programs, through other programs of non-government organizations, and of course individual efforts. But we are going to particularly look at what they have been doing, how they have been doing them, and try to ensure that they are done better.
Kugonza is now the first member of parliament of Buyanja East, which was recently carved out of Buyanja. Ivan Joko, Nelson Kaihura, reporting for UBC.
In another development, an estimated 20,000 assorted livestock have been impounded in Nabila 2 and Napak districts by Uganda People's Defense Forces and Uganda Police Force from cattle rustlers. In just 1 week, over 500 animals were stolen in Napak district alone, but some of these were recovered. Let's take a look.
Both Defense Forces and police are making inroads into putting an end to livestock theft. A recent joint security operation in Napak and Nabila Tuk district led to a seizure of about 20,000 assorted livestock raided other communities.
We decided to conduct an operation in Napak East at Nakichumet. We did the same in Nabila Tuk.
Make sure that we arrest the criminals. We recover the illegal guns that are being used in criminal activities.
Chairperson Nabila Tuk District Paul Lokol blames the LDUs for hiring out guns, while Awase Vicky Sylvia wants government to escalate the disarmament drive in the region as the case was before.
The commander of land forces, Mr. Ilelu, came here and alerted the community that they were going to either assimilate or disperse the LDUs. Some of them would be taken into UPDF. And the LDUs, of course, are the ones spearheading this raiding. The guns that are being used, most of them are not from the illegal guns as we may think. These are guns of
carry on disarmament in Karamoja region, because raiding has continuously been done by my people. The people of Nabilatuk come to Bokora connive with the GA, they come and raid Nabilatuk, and this continuous raid has really put us on tension.
The 3rd Division Commander, Brigadier General Joseph Balikudembe, says there is an ongoing operation aimed at eliminating the area of renewed cattle raids.
We shall make sure that also we protect the neighbors like the Iteso, the Langi, and the Achori, the Sabine in Kapchorwa and Kweni, and even in Ulambuli. We have just started, and people have been yearning for disarmament. And this is the beginning. The renewed disarmament must continue with cooperation from the civilians, with cooperation from local leaders, cooperation from other security stakeholders.
Meanwhile, security officials and local leaders believe that teamwork and reviving peace committees will help in ending raids in Karamoja.
And they have a dialogue so that leaders of both districts can talk peace and prevail over those, because they know them. They know those who come from different areas for raids, so they can bring them to order.
We as leaders, we are going to come up and sit down and find how we can dialogue with our people, how we can sensitize them more about this. You can imagine probably they are forgotten.
The commander Anti-stock theft unit, Kasirabo Elias, says the Nabilatuk resolution was equivocal in ending the cattle theft habit.
Nabilatuk, the so-called Nabilatuk resolution, where you find one cow stolen and you want to impound or no, we only pick that cow which has been stolen.
Moriniga, Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
The sound of those cows makes me think they are also tired of these cattle rustling activities. Moving on, Uganda Wildlife Authority, in partnership with the Worldwide Fund for Nature, have embarked on an anti-poaching campaign aimed at improving conservation around Queen Elizabeth Conservation Area. Now, the campaign, dubbed Zero Tolerance to Poaching, will be spearheaded by different stakeholders from the 12 districts that make up Queen Elizabeth Conservation Area.
During COVID-19 lockdown, Uganda recorded a spike in poaching cases with at least 10 to 15 cases monthly in different national parks.
We have challenges of poaching, we have challenges of encroachment, we have challenges of climate change, and we need also to make conservation relevant to the people.
The Commissioner of Wildlife Conservation, Akankwasa Barirenga, says because of COVID-19, revenue from tourism drastically reduced to $0.5 billion in 2020 from $1.6 billion in 2019.
When COVID came in, things changed a bit. The revenue dropped to as low as $0.5 billion per annum as of June 2020.
Poaching cases in areas neighboring national parks increased as a result of wildlife conflict over park resources due to population pressure.
For years, population have increased. So the pressure on the demand of park resources, including the challenges of poaching and many other things, revenue sharing and all these livelihoods of these communities are at stake. And also the biodiversity, the level of poaching and encroachment that we have seen is increasing.
To minimize the challenge, the authority has currently embarked on engaging stakeholders in sensitizing the masses against the poaching vice.
Poaching is out of greed and it's more or less culture, because we have been poaching since time immemorial. So poaching is being done deliberately. So what we are doing as leaders is to sensitize our people.
With such interventions, over 60 ex-poachers in Kibaale National Park have already abandoned poaching and embraced their income-generating ventures, including wood carving, goat rearing, piggery, and beekeeping.
In another development, the former Inspector General of Police, General Kaihura, has denied ever being treacherous. Kaihura, who was in Kisoro for the first time since 2018, was speaking at the burial of his grandmother, Ansila Buchana, at St. Ansila Church, Rutare, Kisoro District.
Former Inspector General of Police Kaihura has appeared in Kisoro for the first time since his arrest and detention in 2018. The general was in Kisoro for the burial of his grandmother, Ansila Buchana, also known as Mama Bufumbira, at St. Ansila Rutare, Soko Parish, in Kisoro District. Kaihura said that in his lifetime, he has never been a traitor, he has never betrayed his family, people, and he has never been treacherous to Uganda. He asked the coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation in Kisoro District, Kanodeo Kaita, to pass on the message to responsible officers.
Today, I'm General man. I will see.
The former Inspector General of Police applauded Bafumbira for being by his side and for continuing to love his family during his trying moments. General Kaihura said that after he left police and eventually arrested and detained, most of those he thought were his friends deserted him, but Bafumbira continuously visited him without fear. General Kaihura also expressed gratitude for the law firm led by Kabatsi that defended him at a time he could not afford the costs of such a prestigious law firm. Nyarusisa Sub-County Councillor John Fitumuchiza and mourners were happy to see General Kaihura in the area after close to 4 years.
Indambara y'abafumbira barwanaga nukuvuga ngo barebe General Kaihura agarutse hano ku butaka kandi turabizi byose Imana irabikora. Uyu munsi arabyina natwe, arabyina n'abaturage, arabyina isangane, arangubushera mbega ndi wareba abafumbira bo mukecuru yagiye
The Prime Minister of King Caesar Development Foundation, Geoffrey Hashaka, thanked General Kaihura for his love for Kisoro and Bufumbira despite his tribulations. The late Ansila Buchana Ruhimbi died at the age of 97 years and is survived by children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Father Irenayo Sibemanya, who led the Requiem Mass, praised the late Ansila for setting a good example among the Bafumbira by constructing St. Ansila Rutare Roman Catholic Church in Soko Parish.
Who write this church at heart? Ansila ndavuga ngo aragerayo neza abo kuba Kiliziya yashitayemo ndanyubundi bamwe barabari hamwe buhamya.
The new leadership of National Association of Social Workers of Uganda has been tasked to rally social workers across the country to participate in the campaign against the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. The outgoing president of the National Association of Social Workers of Uganda, Michael Byabakama, wants social workers to participate in sensitizing the public about the advantages of observing the standard operating procedures for COVID-19 prevention.
The new leadership of National Association of Social Workers of Uganda has been tasked to mobilize all the parasocial workers in the country to participate in the campaign aimed at preventing the spread of COVID-19. This follows a report rise in infection rate in the last 1 week. The cumulative cases now stand at 44,594 with 361 deaths, something which is mainly due to the flouting of the set standard operation procedures.
COVID is real. This new wave is real. If we don't do that, the health centers will be overwhelmed. So we need to mobilize so that people go back to SOPs. They don't have to wait to go into ICUs.
The National Coordinator of National Association of Social Workers of Uganda, John Mary Sekate, expressed his readiness to back in the struggle against COVID-19 pandemic.
We partnered up with the Ministry of Health to respond to COVID-19 all quarantine centers in Uganda. our team was on the front line because we are the expert of behavior change. We are struggling with an issue of behavior. At the beginning, they looked at it as a political issue. They looked at it as a military issue of enforcing laws. But later on, the government and all other stakeholders, they realized it is a social issue, it is a behavioral issue, and also a psychosocial issue, which requires experts to address that.
Sociologists want social workers' capacity upgraded to enable them to serve in different capacities.
We carried out the research, and we found even in one of the districts, the only social worker they were depending on in a specific location is the hairdresser. Is the one who was receiving people with domestic issues, children violence issues. You can imagine what kind of direction that person can provide. Is not trained for that. So they can cause more harm than good.
The head of sociology at Kyambogo University, Moses Sibalyejusa, acknowledged the gap and emphasized the provision of short courses to retool the social workers.
One of the challenges we have had as social workers, we don't have programs or courses, short courses, to retool the people so that they are able to handle the current social problems or social issues. Because there are certain things that were a problem then, but right now they are not. You are talking about other issues. Before, we used not talk about human trafficking, which has become right now a big thing. You are talking about human trafficking.
This was at the annual general meeting held by the National Association of Social Workers of Uganda to change the leadership of the association. Joseph Okow compiled this report.
Furthermore, police in Gomba district is keen on routing out the increasing rate of defilement and livestock theft, now endemic to the area. The district police commander Gomba, Elim Richard, says that Chai sub-county is the most hit location. Let's take a look.
Defilement cases and livestock theft are reportedly on the rise in Gomba district. This has indeed to intensify operations aimed at controlling the vice. The youth who abuse drugs now wants leaders and the community in the area to work with police to overcome these challenges and cautioned those involved that they'll be dealt with.
Residents of Chai sub-county to cooperate with the police and to ensure that all will be well and we shall fight together. We shall all fight crime in this area. I also want to put caution on those who would be suspects on defilement cases. Defilements are in increase, and I take this opportunity to inform the newly elected leaders into the offices to ensure that we do not have defilement and we do not ruin the future.
This was during the swearing-in ceremony of the LC3 chairperson of Chai Sub-County Chairman David Nasasira.
Of Uganda, that I shall promote the welfare.
We support and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by law established. So help me.
Gomba East Member of Parliament, Robina Rakojo, attended the ceremony and commended them for swearing in using fluent English, unlike other areas, including urban areas where swearing in is a real struggle. Rakojo encouraged parents to use the conducive environment in the country to educate their children because they are the future leaders. She advised communities to shift from peasant to commercial farming for better returns on investments.
So that we bring services closer to the people. We want to remove poverty. We want people to have income in their households. And this is possible. Once we work together, the president managed to get us the parish, help them educate their children. Once they educate their children, many of them are not educated. These children will be their eyes.
The resident district commissioner Gomba, Stephen Asimwe, attended this ceremony and advised leaders to sensitize their communities to adhere to guidelines aimed at preventing COVID-19. The chairperson, Chai Sub-County, Nasasra David, appealed for financial support towards the construction of the sub-county headquarters.
We have land. I thank the person who gave us land where we're going to build our sub-county. It's called Mr. Willie Burwa. He gave it to us for free. I thank him so much because may God bless him because of that good heart. But I would like to call upon the government, because I know everything is in its heart, to make sure that at least we have structures for our sub-county. Because right now, as you can see, you see the function where it is in the trees, it is where even our council going to start from. So it's
Fred Kasibante, Helen Barbara, reporting for UBC News.
Timely Godland Club of Mukono has continued its outreach campaign with visits to Mpata Sub-County, Antenjeru and Katosi Town Councils, among others. This particular outreach targeted more than 20 families, but notably that of 9-year-old Nelson Okoth, who after an accident needs urgent medical attention to fix his intestines.
More than 20 families in Mukono district have club organizations generosity with essentials like food, bread, rice, sugar, maize flour, clothes and beddings, among others. The mission to aid the needy was engineered by God-led club founders, Pastors Emmanuel and Brenda Binaisa, who were joined by visiting Bishop Robert Kayongo.
We collect and send all the necessary help, especially from the United States of America, where I live in Los Angeles, and people have been able to give. And today, this time around, I wanted to come to the ground and to see exactly what is being done. And I found that they are genuine people, and what they are doing on the ground is really great.
Bana bobuwala okusingira ddala okusomoza kwe tusanga nti tubasanga bambi batusogena mu periods naye nga tebalina pads ne knickers nga tebazirina n'olugoye omwana lwe yandyetaddeko ng'okwambala nga talulina kati ebyo byonna bisomooza.
Among the beneficiaries is 9-year-old Nelson Okoth, who lives with his grandmother in Mpata sub-county. Nelson fell off a tree and damaged his intestines, needing medical attention, which has been promised by God-led club that will use its contacts to secure treatment.
We see this every day and our hearts are touched, our hearts are moved. And I want to call for everybody around the country and outside the country
who can be of help.
To this child. We can get together, work together, and see that this family is assisted.
God-led club organization is based in Mukono district, but has, through its numerous outreaches of generosity, spread its tentacles across the country.
The Korean Sayomog Geungo model in Uganda is transforming rural communities through promoting financial inclusion, mainly in benefiting districts of Umpiji district. Now, with support from the Korean Federation of the Community Credit Cooperatives, 15 are increasing household incomes. Details follow.
Poverty remains a major problem in a number of communities in Uganda and most of the sub-Saharan countries due to lack of incentive and access to finance. A 2018 report indicates that 46% of the population cannot save money, whereas 47% can only borrow from family and friends. The study also shows that out of 85% of financially excluded people living in rural areas, 56% are women.
We have the biggest majority of our people in the rural communities who are financially excluded, especially in terms of usage and access to quality formal financial services.
To address this challenge, government signed a bilateral agreement with the Korean Ministry of Interior and Safety to support the establishment of the Semaugemugo model in Uganda.
The MG is coming in particularly to fill in that gap, whereby a rural person has a place to run to when he has a financial need, when he has an investment opportunity.
Semaugemugo, loosely translated as New Village Bank, operates on a cooperative model and is aimed at promoting financial discipline and access to affordable financial services in rural communities. The Ministry of Interior and Safety, through the Korean Foundation of Community Credit Cooperatives, has since 2017 supported training of public officials and village leaders to pioneer the formation of new village banks. So far, 15 Samao Gemugo have been established in districts of Mpigi and Mityana, with 70% are women. Over 330 million shillings has been contributed in savings and shares and over 250 million disbursed in loans. This is Bongole Parish, Samao Gemugo Community Credit Cooperative Society at Kanani Village in Mpigi District. The Korean Foundation of Community Credit Cooperative Support has enabled the Samao Gemugo model to register over 800 members in a period of 4 months.
Katolwale bwe bafuna ensimbi ze bajje mu bulimi ze bafunye mu bulunzi basobola okujja ne bazitereka.
Lawrence, a parish chief of Jalamba, parish Buwama sub-county in Mpigi district, is among the 16 pioneers trained as local instructor to support the Samao Gemugo model in Uganda.
I'm proud of this model because it puts emphasis on an individual development. I see poverty being eradicated.
This model has eased banking services for 5 villages in Jalamba.
We see saving increasing, implying that people have now known the impact, the implications, and the good things about saving.
One of the major contributions of the Samao Gemugo model is support to agricultural development and household income enhancement.
They can access credit from these MGs that have been established at the village level and parish levels.
That very same money that they borrow also help them to purchase or to buy fertilizer so as to boost on the fertility of the soil.
48-year-old Kate Nasuna, a resident of Turibogo village, Muduma sub-county in Mpigi district, is a member and beneficiary of Turibogo Samao Gemugo. She serves with Turibogo's Samao Gemugo and regularly takes loans to buy inputs for her farming.
We have brought
agricultural farm inputs because the prices are also fair.
Joseph Seguia, a member of Jalamba Samao Gemugo model and a farmer with a family of 7 living at Lubanga B village, Buwama sub-county Jalamba parish, through trainings, he learned to save, borrow and invest.
It's a coffee drying yard. I've put up a big store there where I'm storing my produce.
Agnes Nambirige, a 42-year-old mother of 6, used to live in this old house, but she got a loan from Jalamba, Samao Gemugo, and constructed a new house. Goreti Namudu, a youth-trained medical personnel and member of Jalamba, has been able to start her drug shop with a loan from Jalamba MG. The 2 local governments of Mpigi and Mityana are also grateful to the Korean people for extending support to transform rural livelihoods.
We are seeing also these other traditionally established businesses improving in terms of their revenues they are getting.
We have seen an increase in household incomes in the entire region where this project is.
The share capital by the MG is also growing day by day, which is a good indication that the households have also bought into the income generating activities.
Successful implementation of Samao Gemugo model in Uganda has been made possible through the support of the Korean Embassy.
The Korean Embassy has been providing support for Samao Gemugo project while improving access to banking for about 5,000 villagers in Uganda.
The MG model will be carried on to so many other districts to be able to replicate it in these communities.
Now, it is 8 years since the Katikkiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, was appointed and handed over the mess, locally known as the Damula, an instrument signifying the authority of the docket he holds as Katikkiro by the Kabaka of Buganda, Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II. He was appointed in 2013, and since then Buganda has registered tremendous achievements. Not without a few challenges though. Let's take a look.
8 years ago, on the 12th of May 2013, Charles Peter Mayiga is appointed as the Katikiro of Buganda by Kabaka Ronald Mwenda Mutebi II. This is the second top important office in the hierarchy of Buganda Kingdom. The year 2021 marks 8 years of Katikiro service to Buganda Kingdom, and during his term of office, Mayiga has contributed towards the success of Buganda.
We've continued with our programs in health, immunizations, donating of blood, immunizations against diseases like hepatitis B. They've continued amidst all these challenges brought about by the pandemic. The fight against HIV/AIDS, the Kabaka is the goodwill ambassador in the fight against the HIV/AIDS, virus, and it has gone forward. In education, we've continued giving bursaries to the most vulnerable. So those are practical things, activities which we can talk about.
Mayiga became prominent under his campaign, codenamed Etofali, which was geared at building Buganda. The funds collected led to the renovation of Masengere building, started Buganda television, rehabilitated Kasubi tombs, installed Buganda clan statues along Kabaka Njagala Road, and constructed a 6th-floor building at Buganda Royal Institute of Business and Technical Education, Kakeka Mengo.
All the functions that were organized were very much supported by members of the public. I think this, for me, is one of the most important achievements. I mean, how do people continue to support the kingdom, to support the activities of the Kabaka's government while they're experiencing the challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Residential houses have also been constructed to encourage people to stay in better and secure places. These facilities are occupied on installment payment. Emwanyi Terimba is another program that has boosted coffee plantation in Buganda.
Practical activities are carried forward. The practical activities, the Emwanyi Terimba campaign was continued. I think it is key in the fight against poverty, especially within the rural masses.
Charles Peter Mayiga also encountered challenges. Mayiga is steadfast, focused, and has kept his loyalty with the Kabaka and the royal family.
So I encourage people to pick on the ripe coffee berries. They say I'm supporting NUP, which is ridiculous, really. So it's a very big challenge to balance the opposing political forces. But I think it only depicts that the kingdom has influence. Every political actor would like to see you aligning with him or her, given the influence that the kingdom enjoys.
Mayiga has been in the spotlight via media platforms over the health status of the Kabaka. On his 66th birthday, Ronald Mwenda Mutebi II shocked followers when he appeared sickly. Mayiga would later inform the public that Kabaka was suffering from allergic complications.
The Kabaka is that important. The only disappointment comes with the people who make allegations, baseless allegations, especially on social media platforms. That's where the danger comes in. And some people think that what they post on social media is what is correct. That's why we are here to tell you the correct version of what's going on.
Working closely with leaders is one of the key components that has enabled Charles Peter Mayiga to serve for all these years in Buganda.
Especially in areas that are beneficial to the ordinary person. For example, in the area of health, we work very closely with government. In areas of education, in areas of community development, we work closely with government.
On 30th May 2021, Mayiga as the Katikiro serving the Kingdom of Buganda. Sebira and
ripe red coffee beans symbolizing supporting NUP. How ridiculous is that? Wow, let's take a short commercial break, but before that, let's take a look at what happened today in history.
Today in history.
It is 50 years since Manchester United became the first English side to lift the European Cup. On May 29, 1968, under the management of Sir Matt Busby, Manchester United beat Portuguese champions Benfica 4-1. The 1968 European Cup final was the final match of the 1967-68 European Cup, the premier club football competition in Europe. It was played at Wembley Stadium in London under the supervision of an Italian referee, Concetto Lobello, in front of a crowd of 92,225 people. And that day was today in history.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, will conduct the National Livestock Census starting on the 24th of May to the 4th of June 2021. The census is aimed at obtaining information on the structure and organization of the livestock sector and will collect data on all livestock types, breeds, and ownership by sex, land ownership, and tenure systems. The livestock census will be conducted in all the 135 districts of Uganda and will collect data from household-based firms as well as private large-scale and institutional firms. The indicators derived from the National Livestock Census will inform evidence-based planning and policy formulation. This is to inform and request all stakeholders at national, local government, sub-county, parish levels and all farmers to cooperate with enumerators and provide accurate information. For inquiries, please call 0757 779992 or 077 33 17660.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
For business, and we move straight into it. Now, over 900 youth have tough learning environment caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The graduates embraced virtual training and performed beyond expectations, says Saul Saramba, the principal ITC.
Out of the 996 students graduating, 468 students graduating are from Prudential.
The Insurance Training College is committed to improving Uganda's insurance sector development and penetration levels through training. According to Saul Seremba, the principal ITC, the sector is attracting more youth, a development he attributes to enhanced sensitization and growth of the economy. This year, over 900 students have graduated at ITC with certificates and diplomas in different related disciplines.
We have worked with institutions, universities, to put insurance in their curriculum. And now we are working with these universities to help them build capacity in insurance. With MOBS, we are working with MAST, so that students come out of universities with the insurance mind, and that will probably spur that interest in insurance, both as practitioners but also future investors in the insurance sector.
ITC is a fully fledged government academic institution supervised by the Insurance Regulatory Authority.
May I challenge you also to use your knowledge you have acquired from the college to make the insurance policies better so that we have a healthier, better future for everyone and everywhere we can be found. You must note that this calls for thinking outside the box.
The graduates were appreciative of the training and promised to be agents of mindset change in the society towards insurance.
I pursued the diploma because I wanted to enhance my knowledge, which I have been able to do.
This is just the beginning. I have a lot of knowledge in my head right now, and I am ready to implement it.
I believe and hope for more opportunities in the market out there, and I implore more younger students out of school to please join the field because there are more opportunities. The market is still small.
In over a decade, Uganda's insurance penetration level has stagnated at about 0.85%, one of the lowest in the region and the continent at large. However, sector, improved economic growth and public awareness, the penetration status quo is expected to change for the better in the coming years. Wadulo, Arnold, Dennis Sigoa, UBC News.
In other news, United Kingdom is to offer 250 million euros to the agricultural sector in Uganda to build storage facilities for agricultural produce at all border points. The move is aimed at ensuring proper storage for agricultural produce, especially grain. These are the details.
Following Kenya's ban on some of Uganda's products, mainly maize, due to poor quality, government is now trying to rectify the challenge by ensuring good storage. This problem will now be solved as 6 export promotion facilities are going to be constructed at different border points to ensure that agricultural produce meet export standards.
program is designed to make sure that aflatoxins do not get into the food chain in the first place, so that we can show the buyers, the international buyers, that the crops are safe, okay, through laboratory testing, and that they can safely buy them.
The Commissioner for Crop Inspection and Certification from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Paul Mambu, says improving post-harvest handling will increase the demand for Uganda's agricultural products.
Is critical. You may have the quantities, but the quality is critical if you are able to penetrate markets or to maintain your markets. And you know, without markets, then the farmers cannot thrive.
The Managing Director, Integrated Agritech Limited, Emmanuel Asimwe, says there is enough labor to construct different strategic facilities, whereby they've started construction at some points.
We are putting up strategic grain facilities. These facilities are different from the ones that are being handled under the post-harvest project. These facilities are purely to promote export trade. And in these facilities, you are going to have cleaning, drying, and then a system using ozonation to remove aflatoxin.
Excited about the export promotion program, saying it will increase market for their produce. Adiana Kute, UBC.
Uganda's pursuit of becoming a food basket for not only its citizens but also East Africa, Africa and the world at large has been boosted by the visit of Sasakawa Global 2000 President Makoto Kintanka. Sasakawa Global 2000 is a non-government organization that measures in research and extension for agriculture modernization. Let's take a look at these details.
Visiting Sasakawa Global 2000 President Makoto Kintanka has met Uganda's Minister of Agriculture Permanent Secretary Pius Wakabi. Makoto is in Uganda to promote relations between Sasakawa Global 2000 and Uganda government, whose pursuit to increase its food production will benefit.
The government of Uganda, in partnership with Sasakawa Africa Association, gives the opportunity for alignment, harmonization, and harnessing complementary strategies to change the face of agriculture in this country.
Uganda already boasts of a very yielding agriculture sector, which assures that at least 90% of Ugandans are assured of food security. The sector also employs heavily with this leading government into further investment through free farm inputs and empowering extension workers through provision of tools.
The just released Uganda Bureau of Statistics report 2020 country food balance sheet indicates that 95% of the population in Uganda is food secure, actually with surplus. The sector employs over 70% of households, according to the 2014 census, and contributes 26.2% of the GDP, and the base for the country's industrial output.
The Ugandan farmers, many of whom operate at small scale, will now benefit from modern trends, achievable through tightening of ties with Sasakawa Global 2000. Since 2004, Sasakawa Global 2000 has developed one-stop centers for farmers in over 20 districts to enable them quick access to tools and education on modern trends.
On the international scene, Africa requires an additional 200 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to immunize about 10% of African population by September, said the World Health Organization regional official on Thursday. Now, Africa requires the additional vaccine doses as a matter of urgency amid supply crunch that has stalled inoculation targeting higher risk groups. Machido Motei, World Health Organization Regional Director for Africa, said during a virtual press briefing hosted by World Health Organization Regional Office for Africa in Brazzaville, the Republic of the Congo. Statistics from the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention show that the continent has acquired 43.5 million vaccine doses and has administered 28.2 million as of Wednesday. According to Moeti, the continent is staring at the possibility of new surges, hence the need to speed up immunization of vulnerable segments of the population, like the elderly and terminally ill. She called upon wealthy nations to expedite donation of extra vaccine doses to the COVAX facility in order to enable African countries to fully immunize citizens. And in sports, Bunyaruguru Women's Football Club from Rubirizi District has become the first to qualify to the semi-finals of the Federation of Uganda Football Association's Women Elite League. In this game, played at the Fufa Technical Center in Jeru, 2 goals either side of half-time by Nora Alupo were enough to seal a 2-0 victory over Kings of Kings. That brace by Nora Alupo took her to the 4 goals thus far in the tournament. In the semi-final next week, Bunyaruguru will play Rhines that dejected Dynamic SS 5-4 after post-match penalties. Quarter-final action continues on Sunday with Amuria High School ladies playing Wakiso Hill Football Club, while Shima Maroons FC entertain Ajax Queens in an anticipated thriller. The top 2 teams in this FUFA Women Elite League tournament will earn a spot in the FUFA Women's Super League.
It comes back to a poor game reading, because if you don't read the game...
Well, and that brings us to the end of our News Tonight bulletin this evening. Let's take a look at the headlines. Tonight, General Kaihura visits Chisoro after 4 years. Government communicators trained and passed out. UPDF and Uganda police seize over 20,000 stolen livestock. And in sports, Bunyaruguru edge Kings of Kings and qualify for semi-finals. As we all know, most of us must be anticipating a lockdown. We cannot say for sure what exactly is going to happen, but that also all depends on how well we manage our behaviors. Social distancing, wearing a face mask at all times, and also washing your hands. Washing your hands is something quite simple, logical. Doesn't only have to take COVID-19 to have to wash your hands. So just wash your hands, wear that face mask, and I'm sure most of it God will have us covered. Thank you for joining us. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and have yourselves a great night.